Well, hello, and thank you for joining us on this video. My name is Chad Frantzen. I'm the founder of Authentic Counsel, a registered investment advisory firm. And today on this short video, I'm going to go over a little bit more about the services we offer in the way of investment portfolios. And specifically, we're going to be talking today about WealthBuilders Investment Services, which is a division of our firm in which we provide financial planning and investment services. There's a couple of ways if you're watching videos through the WealthBuilders community that you can access information about what we do. You can go to wealthbuilders.org and then select WealthBuilders Investment Services. And you can also visit us directly at AuthenticCounsel.com. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you during this presentation. It is important for me just to share with you that we do not give tax or legal advice. And investing does involve risk and the loss of principal. We encourage you to visit with an investment professional, read the prospectus on any investments that you're considering. It's also important to note that past performance is not a guarantee of future results. And this presentation here is for educational purposes only. These are not specific recommendations to you. We're really providing these as an educational video that you would need to seek additional counsel before investing in any of these portfolios. One of the scriptures that gives light onto financial wisdom is in 1 Chronicles 12:32, and it says, "From the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the sign of the times, and they knew the best course for Israel to take." And we believe in today's world, both in government and business, in family, in the church, and in investing, we need to be looking for men and women who have wisdom that is the ability to understand the signs of the times. And that's really our heart in working with Billy and Becky Epperhart and the WealthBuilders organization, is to provide a first-class organization that can have wisdom on how to invest and how to understand what's going on in the business and economic cycle, and particularly today as we record this video during the COVID-19 crisis. So we believe that's really what we seek to do, is to be one of those leaders that provides you with sound advice. Many people have talked about the economy today. This video is being recorded on April 10th as we're in the middle of an economic crisis, a global pandemic with the coronavirus and the government shutting down the economy. We're still in the middle of that. The economy is not reopened. So some of this information on the next few slides is pertinent to the time that we're in, that being April 10th of 2020. A lot of people have talked about the economy and how quickly it will recover, whether it will be a V-shaped recovery or a U-shaped recovery or an L-shaped recovery. One of the charts that I wanted to share that I came across this week was one of the most popular logos, which is the Nike swoosh. And so one thing we would present is that this may look like what the economic recovery is, that it's not going to be a sudden V-shaped recovery because of pent-up demand, but that it's going to be a drawn-out U, that the economy will slowly come back online, consumers will slowly start to get back to normal spending habits and jobs. A couple of charts I want to show, and then we'll get into the investment models that we do for WealthBuilders. This chart is of the weekly leading index, and it is put out by the ECRI, which tracks leading economic indicators. And this chart is through April 3rd of 2020. And the green line on this chart really represents when the green line is above zero. These are expansion times for the economy. And what you'll see is that the green line here is very low. These are leading economic indicators. So what this tells us is that this is a forward-looking indicator predicting business cycles and recessions and economic downturns. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist for us to know that the economy is likely in a recession right now as we speak, due to a lot of the economic data that is out there. This is one of the charts we look at with the different research firms that we work with in managing portfolios. We want to look at the economy and what's going on with certain economic factors, and that informs our decision for how do we invest, how do we advise clients to invest, and when is a good time to be in certain types of asset classes. This second chart really just shows the fact that the, sorry about that. Let me scroll back to that. This second chart just shows the initial jobless claims. And what we've seen is that we have had a massive black swan event where you see the blue line, and this is unemployment, initial jobless claims going back to the mid-60s. And we've had this huge spike in unemployment. As of this week, 16 to 17 million people have filed for unemployment, and we expect that number to grow. When we look at it on a chart, this is an astronomical number. So we know that 2/3 of the economy is consumer spending. And so we realize that unemployment is going to be a very significant factor for our lifestyle, for our spending habits, and for the loss of jobs and economic impact on many parts of the U.S. economy. This next chart, and then we'll talk about the investment models. This is a chart taken from Howard Marks's book, Mastering the Market Cycle. What I like about this chart is it is very simple. We could draw this on the back of a napkin. But in effect, this chart, at the first of the year, we were at the top of the economic cycle. The economy was starting to slow down. We were starting to see some signs of that in GDP. But the red arrow that says we were here, that would be the first part of 2020. And where we are now is somewhere around that orange box where it says we are here now. We might be a little bit above that box based on the recent market rally for the week of April 10th. However, economic cycles tend to go in this wave, as you see on the chart. So we do believe that we will see this wave go out, and the axis that goes across where you see the 10-year return estimate, that's really the median price to earnings ratio. And that's what we're looking at to compare fair value. What's the fair value for the price of the stock market? We were at very high levels at the end of last year, the first of this year, which is the red arrow. And now we're somewhere around that orange arrow, but we do think long term, we'll probably see more weakness based on economic data, which will present ongoing opportunities for investing in good quality asset classes. Diversification is something we teach a lot to our clients. There's a verse in Ecclesiastes 11 that says, "Divide your portion to 7 or even to 8, for you do not know what misfortune may occur on the earth." And interestingly, in financial analysis today, they have what's called modern portfolio theory, which has historically proven that the best risk-adjusted returns can be achieved through a diversified mix of 7 asset classes. Certain asset classes that you can invest in include large cap stocks, small cap stocks, international stocks. You can also invest in commodities like gold or silver, real estate, intermediate bonds, and cash. Now, there are many other asset classes that you can invest in. Certainly there's digital assets now like Bitcoin. There's other types of private investments that you can invest in. But this is a good, just basic example of asset classes and how they perform in this second chart. And what I've drawn here is just a red line that shows large cap US stocks. So if you'd invested in the S&P 500, this goes back to 2000 through 2019. And what you see is that on the chart, every year, the colors that are at the top are different and the colors that are at the bottom are different. What this tells us is that from year to year, based on where we are in the economic cycle, certain asset classes do better than others. So one of the roles of a quality portfolio manager is to ascertain the times and to determine, well, which types of assets will do well when the economy is expanding and which asset classes will do well when the economy is contracting during a recession. So this is a very important part of our investing thesis. Is we're not just going to be buy and hold investors. We want to be astute in reading research and observing what's going on in the economy as we design portfolios for the families we serve. Now let's transition. I've got a few more minutes in this video, so thanks for sticking with me. What I want to do now is I want to share with you 4 of the investment portfolios that we work with for WealthBuilders. And on this first slide, these are 2 of our foundational models. The first one is called WealthBuilders Rising Dividend. And this is a growth and income strategy. And what we've done is we've applied a lot of the teaching principles that Billy Epperhart has in his books and in his WealthBuilders teaching ministry, and we've compiled that with the research that we do on capital markets. So the rising dividend strategy is a diversified mix of companies that have strong balance sheets, and they have a history of paying an increasing level of dividends to their shareholders. There are many companies out there that pay good dividends in all different sectors of the economy, from healthcare to energy to finance to real estate. So what we do in the rising dividend model is we create a portfolio, typically of exchange traded funds or mutual funds or stocks of high quality rising dividend companies. This is a great model for investors that are starting out. You can invest in this with any level of money, but it's a great core holding to have for long-term investors. The second model is what we call WealthBuilders Biblically Responsible Core. One of the things that we found is that investing based on the principles of your faith can be a hard thing to do at times. There is growing research that shows that many individuals who want to invest based on their Judeo-Christian beliefs are choosing to screen for investments that meet those requirements. And this is called BRI, or Biblically Responsible Investing. So what we've done is we've created 3 different investment models: conservative, moderate, and aggressive, that can meet all different tiers of the investor profile, that are in a diversified mix of index funds that track the major indexes, such as the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, NASDAQ. And what we do in this model, this is primarily exchange traded funds and to a lesser extent individual stocks. We screen them for biblical ethics, for social impact, and to see if what they're doing is helping to solve some of the major needs that we have in the world. So this is our Biblically Responsible Core. It's a great foundational model. Again, for any asset size, you can start with a small amount, you can put in each month. This is a great foundational model along with the rising dividend fund. On this slide, these are 2 other portfolios that we've created. Now, whereas the first 2 portfolios are great for foundational investing, these models are really designed for individuals who have a higher level of investable assets. Typically, for these type of strategies, you want to have $100,000 or more in investable assets, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. The first strategy is called WealthBuilders Premier, and what we've done is we've just taken our best ideas, which could be in any asset class, and we've put them into a model portfolio. We call it a tactical model, which means whereas on rising dividends, we may buy and hold those for the long term, the Premier model, we may go to cash, we may have more money in stocks or bonds, depending on where we are in the economic cycle. So right now, given the economic crisis we're in, this model is not fully invested in the broad stock market. What this is looking for is to take our best research, our best ideas from quarter to quarter, month to month, and apply them to our investment process. And what we're looking for is outsized investment opportunities where there is a greater upside in certain investments over a short to intermediate term time horizon. That's WealthBuilders Premier. Again, generally on that, it's $100,000 or more because it is a little bit more diversified portfolio, and you would build that on top of your foundational models. The last portfolio that I want to share in this video, and then we'll wrap up, is what we call WealthBuilders Private Alternatives. These are generally designed and most suitable for accredited investors. Now, an accredited investor is someone who has $1 million or more in net worth. Private alternatives have all sorts of additional diversification purposes and risk levels. These are what we call non-correlated investments, besides stocks, bonds, mutual funds, index funds. Examples of these could be things like limited partnership interest in private real estate, private equity, private debt, venture capital. These are just a few of those examples. And if you've worked any with WealthBuilders or have been to some of their events before, you may have heard them speak about a private debt fund that they manage called Tricord Global. This would be an example of an alternative investment. And if you want to find more about Tricord Global, you can contact WealthBuilders directly at wealthbuilders.org. Again, private alternatives, generally these are for individuals with $1 million or more in net worth, and it provides them added diversification. It also gives them a way to invest their money for maximum social impact. So we can actually invest directly in businesses or in real estate or in microfinance to have a greater kingdom impact beyond just stocks and bonds. So to recap, the Rising Dividend Fund and the Biblically Responsible Core, great foundational models. You can start with really any dollar amount. And then the Premier and the private alternatives are more of our higher end portfolios. Again, these are not specific recommendations, but we did want to educate you on, well, what type of models have you created under the WealthBuilders label? And these are the 4 ones we have today. So again, these are not specific recommendations. We'd be happy to visit with you one-on-one. A couple ways you can follow up with us as far as next steps. We mentioned before that we do offer monthly financial coaching. So if you're not sure how much you want to invest, or if you don't have a lot to start out, we'll be happy to visit with you on our subscription plan just to give you some financial coaching. Now, if you want to open an investment account, we do work with 2 custodians, TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab. So if you want to open an account, you can contact us. We'll be happy to walk you through the process of opening an investment account and helping you analyze what type of portfolio is best suited for you based on your situation. 2 final thoughts that I want to leave you with is we really encourage you to always keep adequate cash reserves at all times, but especially during economic crisis. The Board for Financial Planning recommends you keep 6 to 9 months of your monthly expenses in cash. So we know a lot of you may be impacted by this crisis, whether you've lost a job or you're having to lay off employees. And we just want to encourage you, we do want to invest, but we also want to be sure that we have a plan for how to keep cash on hand to get through seasons of drought. And we also want to invest with a long-term perspective. And the last one, FOMO, is just the fear of missing out. We want to encourage you that investing in financial planning often involves the emotions of greed and fear. And so one of the things that we seek to do is just help be a buffer between you and making bad decisions. So you're not too late. You're right where you are today, and you can start making good decisions for your finances and for your family. And we're happy to help you out. For more information, you can visit AuthenticCounsel.com. You can also go to AuthenticCounsel.com/WealthBuilders. We have this video and other videos there. You can also schedule a 20-minute consultation with us to talk more about the investment models. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your interest in our services, and we wish you the best. And if you do have any other questions, again, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will be glad to visit with you. Again, Chad Frantzen on behalf of WealthBuilders, Authentic Counsel, we really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.